Qualcomm was essentially accused of unfair practices. Their licensing deals were they were anti-competitive, and that was the whole thing. So Qualcomm sells chips and also licenses. So they had customers locked in. So that was the big problem. If they could, so people could not sell, the manufacturers, the OEMs could not sell their chips unless they had a license with Qualcomm. So that was a big issue. They felt that, they had them cornered or trapped in a way, so it was anti-competitive. So that was the whole thing. So what the judge said was, you got to separate those two. You cannot lock people into a long-term contract or exclusive contract. Keep it separate, license separately, and sell separately. So that's the whole issue right now at the core of it. So it's good for competitors, because now Samsung can sell its chips. I mean, Apple may not buy them, but now Apple can go to Samsung or go to anyone else and get chips from them, as opposed to exclusively from Qualcomm. So that's the whole thing. It opens up the market. And like Cisco dropped out of 5G. They said, we just can't compete with Qualcomm because they're of these. Now they may come back into the game. So a lot of companies that kind of said, Intel said they're not going to do a lot of things. But now that this is off the table, they can come back in and come in with a competitive plan, because before it just wasn't competitive for them to get into this business. Now it might be, because Qualcomm doesn't have the exclusive power there. So I think that's a good thing. It's still a good company, and anytime when you have monopolistic power, it always brings good profits, but then doesn't work in the long run. I think they got caught on the wrong side of the law, according to the judge. But it'll go into appeal process and it'll keep going on. But I think generally the wind is blowing against them at this point. Because they're not out of business, it's just that their exclusive power, their pricing power, and their dominance in the market is kind of lightened up a little bit. So they can still dominate because they have the best chips and they have a lead over others, but others can come in now. That's the whole thing. So that's all. Well, 5G will go on. I mean, it's not going to impact anything. It's Qualcomm's problem. They have to change the business model. It opens up the competition. Maybe it will improve the pricing for 5G chips. So I think in a way it will rationalize the market. Competition is always good. Right now people may still go to Qualcomm because they are the best in that field right now, because they had the whole market for themselves. But now it opens up, others can get in, and they can sell chips. So I think it just helps in the long run. It helps the 5G market. Every cell phone that was sold, they had to pay a toll to Qualcomm. So normally what the judge said was, you just pay one licensing fee and that's it. But now the deal, the old model that Qualcomm had, was they get a share of every handset that's sold. So if 1 million handsets sold, they get a percentage of that, as opposed to one flat licensing fee. So the judge said, hey, let's do that like everyone else, charge one licensing fee, no more of this percentage royalty of all that. So that, in a way, to the extent that lowers the price of the handsets, that's good for the OEMs and good for the market. So I think in the net, I would say the customer wins in this. The competitive environment wins in this whole thing. So I think, and it puts a big issue out of the way for Qualcomm, because this has been lingering for a long time.